All right, in this lecture, we're going to learn past, present, and future strategy. So when you're talking about few things in your speaking test, you might be talking about past, you will be talking about your present, you will be talking about future. How do we use the tenses and how do we explain them? So this is what we're going to look in this lesson. Let's just start looking at them now. What is PPF? It's past, present, and future strategy, okay? So the activities that we're going to look at, there will be a warm-up activity, question making, and pair work, and we will then analyze the tense use. All right, so first activity, this is on you. This is a warm-up activity. Try to make questions. How would you make questions? Describe a memorable. So you will get this card from in part 2. The examiner will give you a card. It will say these things. Describe a memorable trip you have had. You should say when you went on the trip, where you went, and or what you did on the trip, and say why is it memorable. Now it's very important for you to break each of this information and convert them into questions, because if you can write them in questions, you will then remember as to what are the things I should be talking about, right? So it says describe a memorable trip. What does it include? You should talk about when did you go, the time, where did you go, right? The place, and what did you do, what you did on the trip, so your activities, and say if it's memorable. 4 things it's asking about your trip, right? So how would you convert them into questions? Pause the video here, write down the questions, and when you come back, we'll review. All right, this is the answers. That's how you would convert. So basically, you would say, when did you go on the trip, right? So when did you go, which is the time. The answer is the time. You'll think about, I'm going to talk about last summer, for example, last year, for example, 2 months ago, for example. Now, where did you go? You have to think about the place where you went for your memorable trip. It would be, Bali, let's say, for example. In my case, last trip was to Bali. So yeah, I will just think about the place where I went, and then what did you do? So when I'm writing down these questions, I already know what I'm talking about. So what did I do? The activities. I'm thinking about the activities, for example, rock climbing, for example, or visiting a monkey forest, for example. So all of these activities I will write down, and I'll talk about it. And why was it memorable? The reason why it was memorable was because it was very unique. It was very adventurous. I spent really good time with the locals, and I remember all of this. I have a few friends from Indonesia. Like, you can write down the things what made it memorable for you. Okay, so let's move on to the next activity. So in this activity, what I want you to really think about is all the events that happened in the past, in the present, in the future. Okay, so look at the task card below and some extracts from how a candidate answered the question. So I'm giving you some responses, how the candidate answered the questions. Discuss what PPF stands for and use the underlined words and phrases to help you. You already know what PPF stands for. It's past, present, and future. All right, so look at these responses. For the past, you've got, it was definitely far more exciting than any holiday I had been on. All of these tenses are in the past, right? I had been to Europe, so Asia was a completely different experience. So all of the information you're talking about is in the past. Now let's think about present. I've got some photos that this is in present. You've got photos now from the trip on my computer. They come up as screensavers after my computer hasn't been used for a while. So I look at them and start dreaming about going back there. All of these tenses are present tenses, hey? Future, think about the future. In this future one, let's discuss this response. Actually, I'm planning to take my girlfriend there next year. So it's future, but we are going to stay at a beach resort this time because I have heard there are some lovely places by the sea. We'll probably just take day trips to cities and temples. I can't wait. All right. So in this activity, I want you to look at number 2 at the bottom. It says underline the different ways of talking about future used in the third extract. So third extract is about future, right? Underline the phrases that are used and different ways of talking the future used in the third. So in past, you could see was is talking about all of these tenses, the helping verbs and the verbs, the auxiliary and the verbs are used to describe past. All of the words that have got, hasn't been, come up, used, start dreaming, these are representing the present. Underline the phrases and words that you think are representing the future, okay? Do this activity on your own, pause the video here, and when you come back, we will review the answers. All right, let's review the answers. So I'm planning to, even though it's present continuous is also used sometimes future. This is used for future, just talk about future. I'm planning to take my girlfriend there next year, but we are going to stay at a beach resort this time because I've heard that there are some lovely places by the sea. We will probably just take day trips to cities and temples, and I can't wait. So you could see one structure is present simple, present continuous. I'm planning to. It's also used for future. We can use present continuous for future. That's very important to understand. And we also use are going to. Going to is also used for future. Okay. And then we will probably, especially when we use going to is used when something is confirmed in the future. All right. And we'll probably will is also used. This is future simple. Future simple tense is also used for future. All right, so these are some of the things. All right, let's look at this one. Now, this activity is on your own. I want you to think of the response. Think about a trip you answered questions about before. You must have done that activity for yourself. Make notes about what you could say in past, present, and future, and what are the tenses you will use. Try to use the same structures that I just showed you. You can go back one screen and you can see those responses. Try to come up with those responses and check the grammar if the grammar makes sense. Okay. Then take turns to talk about 2 minutes for your trip. So obviously, once you have written down, try to talk, try to practice. If you can practice it with your friend, that's great. If you want to make your own video on iPhone or any phone, try to record yourself, listen to it, and see if it makes sense. All right. So you can pause the video, do that activity, and then come back, or after watching this lesson, you can also do this activity later on, right? The choice is up to you. Brainstorm possible questions which may appear on the task card. So let's look at this task card at the end. Describe something you own which is important to you. Think about this is a card, right? What are the possible questions that could be asked from you, right? Let's review those questions. So in this type of question, the task card said to you, describe something that you own, which is important to you. So where did you get it, right? So describe something you own, which is very important to you. You should say, this is the card will be given to you, where you got it, how long you have had it, what you use it for, and explain why it is important to you, right? So what are the answers? What are the type of questions they are asking in this task card? How long have you had it, right? That's one. When did you get it, right? When did you get it? You can also think about when did you get it, okay? How did you get it, right? What do you do? What do you do with it? Who was it from? Why is it important? Where do you keep it? How long will it keep? Will you keep it? How long will you keep it? In this card, you should definitely mention that where you got it, right? Where did you get it? That's one question. You got to talk about the place, how long you have had it. You have to talk about the time that you've had it for, and what you use it for, the use case. What do you use it for? Yeah, the something that you own that is very important. For example, your car, what do you use it for? Maybe for work, maybe for leisure. stuff like that. And then you'll have to explain why it is important to you, why it is important. Then you have to come up with reasons why it's important. All right, let's look at grammatical accuracy and range. I will put in one of the lectures I did put a link where you can find the bands for all of the 4 skills that are tested in IELTS. Grammatical range, let's just quickly review the grammatical range and accuracy. Let's start with band 5. If your sentences are basic sentence forms are fairly well controlled for accuracy, you will get basic sentence forms, simple sentences, not complex or compound sentences, but the accuracy is good. You will get band 5. Or complex sentences are attempted. You're trying to use the complex sentences with the linking words are attempted, but these are limited in range, nearly always contain errors, and may lead to the need for reformulation. Then in that case, you're going to achieve band 5. If you are in band 6, produces a mix of short and complex sentences, forms, and variety of structures with limited flexibility. So you're trying to come up with the complex sentences, but there's limited flexibility. Though errors frequently occur in complex sentences, these rarely impede communication. So people are still able to understand you. That means you can get about band 6 for grammatical range and accuracy. In terms of band 7, a range of structures flexibly used, error-free sentences are frequent. Both simple and complex sentences are used effectively. Despite some errors, there are few errors and very few basic errors persist. You can score 7. So you should always aim for using the complex sentences. Very important that you use complex sentences without errors. So that's why it's very important that you improve your grammar. Otherwise, you will struggle getting that band 7. All right, that's all I had for this lesson. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next one.